Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. In today's reading, I'd like to have a look at Kirsty Alley and her terrible passing, her death from colon cancer. What I would like the cards to help me understand is whether the fact that she was a Scientologist was detrimental to her possible recovering from cancer. I know that with Scientology, seeking medical intervention for things is not what they do. Having said that, I don't think that it's banned, but I believe that their view is that anything can be cured with belief in Scientology, that any illness can be cured. So I just really want to do a viewing on what happened to Kirsty Alley and whether Scientology, her belief in it, and religion, I use that term very, very loosely, whether their indoctrination into not seeking medical attention was a major factor in her passing. So I'm just going to free form with this. I'm using the Alley.Seers tarot. So we will just see what the cards will tell us. I'm just going to let them fall. So Kirsty Alley and Scientology. Scientology and Kirsty Alley's cancer. Scientology and Kirsty Alley's cancer. Let's just get a few cards first of all. Anything the cards care to show me. I'm going to take that one, that's it. Nine of Swords in reverse. Let's see what else comes up. Kirsty Alley and her cancer. Scientology and cancer. One more here. Okay, I'm going to start with the middle. Seven of Wands. It is battling. It is the battling cards, and you have the higher ground. And I think this is very much the Scientology's thought patterns on this. You know, you have the power within you to cure any illness. If you look at this figure, the way she's sitting, she's praying, very elevated, very much in control. Usually the Seven of Wands isn't quite like that. It's more sort of an active battling card. You know, usually a wand is held out in a very sort of protective, but also don't come near me, I've got this covered sort of vibe, whereas this is a much more spiritual rendering of the card. And I think that Scientology felt that everything that you need to heal yourself is within yourself, and that she's in a bubble. When you look at this, it's very much in that bubble, and it's almost like everything that you need is within you. You don't need to go to anywhere else. Scientology and you will cure things. You don't need to go outside the medical intervention, because everything you need, all the power to heal, is within you. So that I see as a central theme of this, the Scientology. We have the Nine of Swords, and we have the Ace of Cups. They're both in reverse. So let's tackle the Nine of Swords. This is very much sleepless nights, very, very worried about things. We've got it in the reverse, but let's just address the actual card itself, the Nine of Swords. You know, plagued by worry about things. And I can imagine that, you know, if you were ill, I think that maybe this relates to her being ill and not knowing what was wrong with her, keeping her awake, being in pain and not knowing what was causing it. We're in reverse. So I think that is very much, I think when you're the right way up on this Nine of Swords, usually it's like the Weeping Woman. We have got a Weeping Woman here, and she has swords above her, and you know, you think you could climb out of this, and you know in your head, it's like all those nightmares that keep you awake at night. You know that in the morning things will seem clearer. The things that you worry and fret about at 3 o'clock in the morning, by the time daylight comes and, you know, you're having your breakfast, you're thinking, oh, you know, things aren't so bad. And I see that as basically a Nine of Swords energy up the right way. You know, it's like those things that haunt you at night, but that you can actually cope with. Whereas when I see this upside down and inverted, I think to myself, this is more like, this is not going away. These are the nightmares that when you wake up, it's still there. And I think that she was in pain. She knew something was wrong with her, but she wasn't sure what. And because of Scientology being very much, you know, you have the power within you, within your own bubble, and within our, you know, religion, I use that loosely, you know, you can cure yourself with whatever they chose, or, you know, I don't know what kind of meditation or what method they would use, but certainly you don't need medical intervention. You've got it all within you. But she knew that something was wrong, and she was meditating. She was enduring the pain that she had, but she didn't know what it was. She didn't know what it was, and this was keeping her awake at night and causing her pain during the day. And it was a living nightmare, I see that one as. And then we have the Ace of Cups on this side. Ace of Cups, a very emotional card, a very, you know, a fresh start, a sign of, oh, you know, this is all so positive, feeling very emotional in a good way. You know, everything's starting, everything's beginning. Aces are new beginnings. This is up the other way. Her emotions had just bled out, basically. I think that she was so drained from pain and so drained from trying to fight what she was going through, not quite knowing what it was. So she was very, very drained from this. So let's just take this further. So that is how she was handling things. So let's just see if we can get anything on a diagnosis when that actually came, because I think that it wasn't long after a diagnosis that she actually passed. I don't think she was, you know, fighting this with a hospital for a long time. It wasn't like something that had gone on and she'd been having treatments for a long time. So let's just see, when did she get treatment for this? And what were her thoughts on going into a hospital and going for treatment? Anything the cards can show me regarding diagnosis and treatment of Kirsty Alley and this cancer. Anything the cards care to show me regarding diagnosis and treatment of this cancer for Kirsty Alley. What was their diagnosis and treatment? Terrible situation, was absolutely dreadful. So I'm going to go, that's come out. Yeah, Three of Swords. The Heartbreak card. Is there anything else that you can show me? There are quite a few there, but I'm still going to take them. We'll take the Heartbreak card. When she actually discovered what it was, you know, total, this character here, this poor person is just heartbroken that, you know, she hadn't known what it was, been keeping her awake, and that she'd been praying or doing whatever the Scientologists do to heal themselves, to use Scientology, to use the power within them to heal, still in pain, finally gets a diagnosis, how serious this was, and total devastation, total heartbreak discovering this. And then we have 3 more cards. So let's just go through what we have here. We've got Magician, Judgment, and the Page of Swords. Okay. Let's go with Judgment. You can see she's actually looking to the heavens. I think that she decided that she would take the medical intervention, that, you know, she had to do that. And if you see the character looking skywards, probably, you know, this is what I have to do. It's almost like praying. I kind of see it as like, almost like an apology for doing it. I've done everything that you've asked me to do. You know, I've really gone within and meditated and tried to cure myself and been very faithful to Scientology. But my new start isn't happening. I'm getting worse. It's keeping me awake. I'm so broken. I have constant pain. And, you know, I'm a total 3 of Swords. Total 3 of Swords, just devastated by this diagnosis. So the judgment is, you're going to have to judge me as you will, but I'm going to have hospital treatment for this. And I don't know what my judgment will be through Scientology, but this is the way I'm going to go. So that is what she chose to do. And you can see it was a hard decision for her to actually go the hospital route, but nothing else had worked. And this diagnosis just came, and she just thought, I have to, I'll be judged. I'll be judged on this one way or the other, and I hope I'll be judged kindly, but I have to do this. And the Magician, you know, I think with the Magician card in this circumstance, it really is all those like hidden things. She tried everything, and she wanted to keep it hidden as well. She didn't want people to know how much pain she was in. She didn't want people to know how much she was battling, and she didn't want, you know, the people within Scientology to know, you know, how heartbroken she was at, you know, her endeavors of trying to cure herself hadn't worked. So there's a lot of secrecy in this card, and a lot of, you know, trying to cover up. But she went the medical route. She went the medical route. And then I see this as freedom, Page of Swords. This is very, very young. I mean, she would have come across as a queen energy, but this I just see as the lightness of her spirit, just, you know, going free. You see the light bulbs here. I mean, this is like a light bulb moment of clarity. But I kind of see this as being pulled up heavenly, you know. It was too late. It was too late for her. And I see the Page of Swords. This is like a strong message from the head, probably from the head of, I should have gone for this medical intervention earlier, but, you know, I did everything that I could. I was a good Scientologist. I did everything I could to try and heal myself, but it wasn't working. The pain was too much. And this, I see her as being pulled up heavenly, and this is her leaving the earth plane, and you know, her spirit going on, and she reverted to someone much younger. As soon as she was out of this horrible pain, you know, she became almost like a teenager again, you know, and she passed into the next world, being lighter of being, and youthful and younger and pain-free. So I think that Scientology delayed the diagnosis. And I don't think it was a definite, you cannot seek medical intervention. I don't think that was the case at all, but I think it was very much expected that, you know, you would do everything that you could to try and heal yourself. So I'm just going to go for the bottom of the pack and see if there's anything else there at the very bottom. At the very bottom, we have the Tower in reverse. Yeah. Yes, I mean, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? The Tower is a lightning moment. You know, the worst devastation, of course, a cancer diagnosis is the worst thing that can happen. And it goes along with this here, you know, all of these cards here down the middle. If you look at it, trying so hard to heal yourself, relying on that inner power that you have in that bubble with the Scientology, trying hard, then getting the diagnosis of what is actually keeping you awake and what is causing your pain. Three of Swords, a total devastation moment. Looking up to God or Scientology or whatever they look up to, and saying, you've got to judge me now because I am going to go for this medical intervention. I'm going to go for whatever medical science can give me because nothing else has worked. And the Tower moment of doing that, just feel like your foundation of your faith has been rocked to the core, because now you have to do something that, you know, is not against your religion, but is not what they purport that you should do. This was in reverse, so I just see the Tower in reverse in this situation as being too little, too late. You know, it was not recoverable. Usually the Tower, you know, you have your Tower moment and you can recover from it and rebuild yourself and you can go on. Of course, you know, this caused her demise, so she can no longer, she no longer has a future, but her spirit is light now and she can be taken up to the heavens. She is in heaven, and you know, you see this figure, youthful, being drawn upwards for a new start as the Page of Swords. So that's the way I see it. I think the take home from this is that colon cancer, all those kinds of cancers, they're very, very terrible diseases. Any cancer, of course, is. But there are screening processes that you can have from about 45 onwards. I believe that Kirsty Alley was 71, which is still young. She was still a very vibrant woman. But again, you know, if you don't have this belief that, you know, you should not have medical tests, you should not, you know, rely on hospitals, everything is within you. Well, I'm afraid that, you know, sometimes everything is not within you, and to not have these tests and all the scans that they have available, you know, for you, it just means that when eventually these things do get diagnosed, you know, it's going to be heartbreak, because it's going to be at a much later stage. And, you know, regardless of how wonderful doctors are, you know, once things go that far, you really are in the Tower reversed. So that's what I see. I think that had she not been a Scientologist and had she not had this real faith in, you know, you can heal your body yourself, I think if she'd have sought medical intervention earlier, and Scientology had encouraged that she would still be with us now. This is my opinion. This is what the cards are telling me. If you see anything different here, I would love to hear from you. And I think the upshot of this, or the uptake, is, you know, if you are of an age to get scans done, then do it, whether it's breast cancer scans or colon cancer or whatever. If you're a man, prostate, whatever it is, get these scans done, because, you know, however much you have your wonderful power of yourself and your own belief in healing, sometimes it isn't enough. So that's my reading for today. God bless Kirsty Alley, and may she rest in peace. Thank you. Bye-bye.